Well, this is where it all began, August 8th, 1968. 5 pounds, 3 ounces, the world would never be the same. The building behind me is the Hotel du Hospital. You were born at Hotel du Hospital. There was only 2 things that were absolutely sure on that day. One was that your name was going to be Rachelle, and 2 is that whoever you met for the entirety of the rest of your life, their life would never be the same. You see, you would impact people. You would impact people in ways that are indescribable. Your heart, God had placed in your heart a heart of service. We'll see that bore out through your entire life. You always wanted to help other people. You always had a soft heart to help other people. So come on, we've got a whole lot of journey to go through. Let's go. So after you were born in 1968, this is the house that your parents brought you home to. It's 10510 Clinton. Of course, when you came home, the second story wasn't on it at the time. It was just a single-story house. In this neighborhood, you developed friendships with your next-door neighbor, Kimberly, and your friend Angelle would come over on occasion, and you guys would spend time playing together. Of course, right around the corner from here, you met your friend Rhonda, who is still a lifelong friend to this day. You guys really used to like to play outside. I know you played a lot with your brothers. One of the things that you used to do was ride your little pink bike with the cool banana seat. So here we are at Archbishop Chappelle High School, where you went to high school. In here, you became involved in band, which really led you on to bigger and better things as you went into college, and you got involved in peer ministry. Again, there comes that heart of service, wanting to do well for others. Really, this was a great 4 years of your life. I mean, if you look back at it, you know, you went through your junior prom, your senior prom, but I just have one thing to say about here and the time that you spent in your high school years, and it's more of a question, because it was Chappelle High Chipmunks, and the saying was chipmunk spunk. I mean, what the heck is that anyway? Anyway, come on, we got more to do. Let's go. So now we continue our journey and we move into your college life. And behind me here is the Blake dorm where you stayed your freshman year at LSU. Your second year of college, you're out of the dorm, and you and 3 of your lifelong friends decide to get an apartment together. This townhouse behind me, you and Rhonda, your friend Steve and Jay, lifelong friends. And another friend of yours is the manager here, Deanna. And Deanna, which is to me the most amazing thing, remained your friend even after this.
The infamous ragu food sauce night.
I seem to remember that happening more than just one night.
So it was one of many food fights at the apartment. Rachelle made a break for this pot of sauce. She grabbed a ladle with her hand and flipped.
And there was sauce slinging, and there was Stephen and Rachelle and Rhonda running around the apartment.
That's all a blur after that. I know a lot of spaghetti ended up on the wall.
Everything was just, the apartment was destroyed.
I have snippets of memory of this.
Probably won't forget it.
So now that you're here at school, one of the biggest opportunities that you had was to play in the Tiger Band. You see, Chappelle Band paid off. And playing in the Tiger Band, you played for 3 years, and one of the most memorable parts of that was the football games where you and the entire band would march down the hill right there with thousands and thousands of screaming fans on both sides. You guys would go right into the stadium back behind the camera over there. It is very cool that I'm standing on the Tiger Band practice field, the tower behind me that they used to look down on you guys as you would practice your formations and pull off some of the most incredible performances at the football games. Something to be very proud of. So here we stand at the epicenter of your college years. We stand behind me is where APO Alpha Phi Omega used to work, the service organization that you poured your heart and soul into. Through that, you were able to serve, but you also learned many organizational and leadership skills. And you used those leadership skills specifically in your senior year here, where you organized the Litter Awareness Project for Earth Day. It was so successful that it even made the news. No, not that news, this news.
This trash dumpster has been sitting in front of the Student Union on LSU's campus since Tuesday. It's there to show students how much trash they throw on the grounds during 1 week. It's part of a campus-wide cleanup project for Earth Week by Alpha Phi Omega, a chapter of a national service fraternity.
What I'm hoping to get across to the students by this is to show them how much litter they're actually throwing on the ground, and it's a whole lot, and as y'all can see, I hope that we've gotten our point across, and I think we have by the signs and all.
Now we're visiting your junior and senior apartment where you and Joanne lived together at 4554 Alvin Dark. You were in the last door there on the left at the top, number 10, and this is where you lived when I met you between your junior and senior year. One of the things that were just memorable about this apartment were the very plush zebra sofas. July 22nd, 1989, and quite frankly, when I went to bed that night, life would never be the same. What happened on that date happened right behind us at my apartment. You and I met. My sister Rachelle brought you to a party I was having, and our lives intersected that day, and our lives have never been the same since. Our family and our friends and our whole direction in life happened because of that day here in New Orleans on Spruce Street, July 22nd, 1989. So here we are, St. Joseph's Church. The date was January 25th, 1992. And we chose this church to celebrate our marriage specifically for the beauty and the ambiance of the church, but also because it had the longest aisle in New Orleans. We wanted you to be able to have that really long walk down that aisle. I remember so vividly your face as you went down that aisle. The beauty of the smile, the anticipation, the glow, it was phenomenal. I remember on those steps right there, one of my favorite pictures of you of all time is walking up those steps. Your father's behind you, your whole party is right behind you, and just the look on your face, the smile, it was just beautiful. And this is where we moved when we first moved to Baton Rouge area, and this was a rental house. It was a little 3-bedroom house, and this is when you got your job at the Baton Rouge General. There's a lot happened when we were here. One of the best things we had, and if you take a look at the pictures, we had a big New Year's Eve celebration right there. We most certainly enjoyed all of the oak trees in the backyard and the live oak, so that was a whole lot to clean up. But anyway, this was a great place to live before we bought our first house. So let's let the journey continue. We'll move on. So this is our first home that we bought together in 1994. In this home, we started our family. Amanda was born in January 1997, and the bedroom at the very far corner was actually her bedroom. It was an exceptional first home. We did a lot of entertaining here, especially with the pool in the background. It's where we started our 4th of July parties. We would get between 50, 70, maybe even more people. So here we are on the back patio where we spent so many nights, days, and afternoons. But it was on this back patio in early 1997 that you and I made a critical decision that changed our life. That when we went to bed that night, life would never be the same as it was when we woke up that morning. We weighed the pros and cons, and we made the decision to uproot our family, leave our friends, leave Baton Rouge, and move to Dallas, Texas to pursue a new career opportunity. So after making that decision on the back patio in Baton Rouge, for me to take the position and for you to leave your job, we went ahead and we made that move to Dallas, Texas, for me to come work here at the Sherwin-Williams Automotive Training Center. So here we are at 1610 Brittany Lane, and this was our first brand new home that we bought in 1997 in Mansfield, Texas. It was a beautiful home. Amanda learned to walk in this house. She learned to talk in this house, and this is where we spent those 2 years of our life. And actually, it was in this house that our Thanksgiving tradition started. You and our next door neighbor, Sean Kuntzman, decorated it so beautifully. And you know what? I think we need to go see Sean and see what she's got to say.
Rachelle, it is so wonderful to get to meet with you again. We have missed you so much.
I didn't know much about Cajun food, but you taught me the appreciation of Cajun food. And I always got excited whenever you let us try some of the recipes you'd made. They were so good.
I remember the dishes that you thought were did not turn out so great, and I'm sitting there wolfing it down thinking it's the best thing I've ever had, and it was.
I still make some of the recipes that you gave me, and I think of you all the time.
Y'all weren't here very long, but it sure made an impression. We sure do miss you, and glad we have an opportunity to tell you happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rachelle.
Happy birthday.
Happy half a century. You had the idea to write in a news article or a food column for the newspaper. You kept making phone calls and writing letters to the editor, but nothing happened. So one week you decided you were going to write a letter to the editor, and then you showed up at the newspaper several days later, knocking on the door, and refused to leave until you saw the editor, in which case you actually had the dish that you had written about. And lo and behold, a few weeks later, you were writing a weekly food column in the newspaper. How exciting. Anyway, it was a great 2 years when it's all done and said, even though it was very hard and there were some bumps and bruises along the way. It formed the incredible person that you are today.
So we're down here at the Fort Worth Stockyards, and there's somebody has something wants to tell you.
Happy birthday, Rachelle from Fort Worth.
Bluff City, Memphis, Tennessee, where we relocated to from Dallas. You and I would come down to downtown on occasion, go to Beale Street. We would see some blues. We would go to the world famous Rendezvous Ribs. We are at Shelby Farms Park in Memphis, Tennessee. When we moved from Dallas, one of the things that you decided to do was be very intentional in forging new relationships, and you used the park system to do that. You would come to the parks, and I don't know how else to put it, but you would become quite the pickup artist. You would bring our little 2-year-old, and you would find another mom that had a child about the same age, and you'd walk up and introduce yourselves, to use your word intentionality, if you will. And actually, out of that, forged some of the best relationships that you had here in Memphis, but also even till this day.
Happy birthday, Rachelle! We're so excited to be able to be here for you and do this.
We had some great times, the playgroups, the swims, the parks. I wish Peggy was here to share the moment. She just always took everybody and pulled everybody together, whether it be for a meal or a party or just a simple get-together in the park. And you're the reason that brought all us happy girls together. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday. It's so true.
Happy 50th birthday, Rachelle. I just reflected back and wanted to share some of those fond memories that we had with you and Lou and Amanda and Alexander, Ryan, Emily, and Peggy. All that fun time we had in Memphis. And some of them usually were stirred up pretty good by me. We like to have a little bit of fun, and that was the old horsey back rides that we had right after dinner when you warned me that don't do it, Tim, don't do it. Yet we did horsey backs, and then we know what red jello looks like on the carpeting. So.
Advent Presbyterian Church in Cordova, Tennessee, and this is where we made our church home. Met some lifelong friends here, still friends with Dan and Corey Eubanks, and your very special friend Carolyn Long.
One of my most memorable moments of you is whenever I wanted to have children and I couldn't seem to ever have children, you were there for me and you would pray with me, and that meant the world to me. And now I have a little boy named Eli, and I believe it's thanks to your prayers and standing with me.
Memphis lost a dear couple when you guys decided to move back to Louisiana.
Alexander was born here in May of 2000, and he learned to walk here and talk here, almost lived 3 years here. Memphis is still in my heart. I know to a large degree a lot of Memphis is still in your heart, and I know that the relationships that we built here are still most certainly in your heart. Here we stand today in front of this house where we moved into in 2003 after moving back home to Louisiana. It was in this house for the last 15 years that you've had your biggest impact on not only me, but also everybody you've ever touched. The impact that you had on our children, teaching them all the way through homeschooling and putting them in a position to have success, helping develop their character into the young man and to the young lady that they've become today. Living here in Louisiana, we got involved in the church, and you had our servant's heart to really want to be involved in the church. It was actually you who made the decision that we should go on missions trips as a family. We went on 2 missions trips to Belize, all 4 of us as a family. And the impact that had not only on my life and Amanda's and Alexander's and yours is literally because of you wanting us to do that. So that brings us up till this day, close to you being 50 years old, where we still live here today. And there's so much more future to be written. You can think of no better place to wrap this up than right here on the very step that you stood 26.5 years ago, the site of my favorite picture. So as we look into your face here, what we see is all the hopes and the dreams of aspirations of the future. But when you look closer, you see the past. You see your childhood as a baby. You see the excitement of you playing with your friends, riding your bicycle, your first communion, your high school years, your time through LSU, and then of course there's the wedding. But if you continue looking, what you see are all the lives that you've impacted from that point forward, from the people you worked with in Baton Rouge, from the people that you had an impact on in the Dallas area, all the people and lives that you impacted in Memphis till we came back home to Louisiana, all the friends, the family, the events, the lives touched, the people touched, the missions trips, the adults that our children have become, the lives that they're impacting, the new family that we have. If you look closely in this picture, what you see is the future even beyond today. Happy birthday, Rachelle.